please sit, jump here, and we will go. And I will do the intro on the AI side. I think I already intro a little bit the people. But so, for advisor at the school, Hassan Sawaf has been for many years in artificial intelligence, veteran, and is now leading Amazon AI at Amazon WS. And I will do the intro for the AI part. So the other advisor of the school, Alexhribal, a pioneer of deep learning. In 1987, he invented a technology called the time-delayed neural network. That it was the first version of something that evolved in something called a convolutional neural net. That maybe it doesn't tell you anything, but is the for all the creative part, but for the people that come from AI, is basically one of the most interesting techniques we have out there. And Alex has also been an entrepreneur 10 times, 2 IPO, last company sold to Facebook. I already said this. We will not need other intro. And I will live. And this is kind of my side, the AI side.
There is no my side and your side.
It's the one I understand.
All
of the things that I understand.
Yes, these are the people we want to marry. Very male. Everything I would say about these gentlemen is too little, and that counts for all 4 of you, of course. I thank you for being here, Hassan, as well. Ami Hassan is one of the most modest, really, entrepreneurs in the creative industry I met. President of the ADC Europe this year, and founder of his own company, growing really fast and successfully in Europe. A creative agency who started to say creativity is not enough, so let's add consultancy, technology to that. So thanks for being here. And Axel is a magician. He's actually already a hybrid. He's, I don't know, he's a dark and white side altogether. He's a disruptive innovator, and happy to have you. Most of us from Germany, in fact. So we try to make Rome becoming Germanized. Yes, please, my friend.
Can I go with my question? So I will start with Hassan, a very simple question. And working at one of the biggest company, Amazon, in the tech industry. So I won't go direct. So do you fear, and is AI replacing all jobs on Earth?
This question is actually very interesting and important. I mean, so I think AI is activating possibilities which we weren't able to do. I mean, I don't think that AI is going to replace jobs, or if it replaces jobs, then it's generating more jobs after that. So I think AI today is what machines were in the mid-1700s, and tomorrow AI should be part of what we learn on a daily basis. This is why this school is so important. We need to be able to think about AI as we think today about math. No one does any business, anything without understanding that there is a 1 + 1 = 2. AI is nothing else. It's just a different layer, more complex way of doing things, solving things with machines. So I think we're just we're leveraging or increasing the level of what humans can do today to something which is more what they can do tomorrow. So we're enabling, finally doing things which we were only dreaming of in the past.
Thank you, Hassan. That is reassuring. And so since we're talking about losing jobs, and I want to be provocative on you, Alex. You have been a professor for so many years. So what's the role of the teacher in the future? With this all online mocks and people are studying online, so will you have your job in the future?
Yes. Well, this has been the fear of many of my colleagues, that MOOCs and other things will replace the human being, and will essentially make the learning process also something done by machine. But I think actually one of the things I find impressive about what you're doing here, in fact, is actually always combining the human and the machine element. And in fact, your very company with which you started, Translated, is a brilliant example of this, where machine translation, machine intelligence is combined with the human effort. And I think this is a key ingredient. I think people are oftentimes worried about this thing called AI, and it will sort of be the robot that comes in and takes over everything. Or people say, well, it doesn't exist and it's all human. I think it's the combination that's the magic. And the same is also happening in education. So speed, I think, is an important element to train people faster, but that combination of human mentoring and also machine tools that make the process more efficient is the magic.
With some other good news. And I wanted to ask Axel. So Axel has been actually combining design, creativity, and technology already for a long time. He was the mind behind the IKEA revolution in smart home, and is now leading the innovation of a big insurance group. And so, how do you think the creative people should embrace technology, and how is this happening? And
I'm actually most of all interested in creating a good human experience, and that involves a lot of disciplines. Surely that is definitely tech-driven, and you have to be aware of that. But overall, the most difficult part is actually to find out what a human really needs or wants, and how we can solve real-world problems, and that on a scale level. And just as an example, a couple of years back, I worked for a global gardening tool company. And we had a lot of quantitative data to extract what they actually want and need. And when we went out into the field to do a qualitative check, we asked an older lady, do you think this lawnmower is actually a great device? And she said, yeah, it's absolutely fantastic. And then we asked her to turn it on, and in the video, because we taped it, you actually see that for 5 minutes she tried to turn it on while she was still pretending that it's a great product and that's totally easy. So I think if you combine like data sets as well as observation by humans, you can actually build a foundation for a great product. And for that you have to combine a lot of different disciplines as well.
Tom, I know you have a question.
I couldn't leave the question to him. I needed to ask you, Ami. I mean, to me, you're one of the most experienced creatives in Europe, and you achieved a lot. So inviting you to come to such an environment, to see all these techies taking over the world, tell us, what do you think, how is the future of creative industry in order to embrace technology and other techniques or tools, or I don't know how you want to describe that, actually, platforms which are going to impact the world so incredibly that there is no way out or away from it. So how do you embrace it? How do you deal with that?
Well, first of all, I'm only here because I want a machine to take my job, at least half of it. But back to your question, like, and what the others said, most people think that they make rational decisions, while 90% of all decisions we make are purely emotional. And if you think of the most important decisions in your life, like picking my spouse from these three gentlemen here, or should we have kids or something like that, they are at least 100% emotional. So what creative people deal with is just emotions. They try to give people emotional reasons to make their decisions and affect their emotional side. And like the story you told about the lady with the machine, like there's another story that I heard years back when Audi, the German car, decided they want to build the best car, and win the hearts of U.S. consumers, and they went over. They built it, and they went over, and they asked 1,000 consumers what do they think and what do they like and what they don't like. So the overwhelmingly biggest complaint was that it had no cup holders. Like, they built the most beautiful technical complex thing, but it didn't have cup holders because we in Europe were not used to driving by a coffee shop and buying a cup of coffee and putting it on a cup holder. So I think the whole idea of combining tech and creativity is so natural. I don't actually think that creativity is something that the so-called creative people or the designers or whoever own. Well, actually, like if you look at the modern economic history, the most creative people were working at Enron, twisting the numbers. So I couldn't do that.
Thank you very much. Back to you, Marco.
Yeah, I wanted to see if there was any question from the audience. Actually, from here, I cannot see if someone wants. But is there any question from the audience? Tung, tung, tung. I don't see one. Because I have one. Can I? So I go, okay? And so my question was for Alex, and he has been. No, you are the history of deep learning, and we went through many cycles and of AI. And there was one time called the AI winter where nothing was happening, and so maybe it's hype what we're having right now. And what's your view on the current state of artificial intelligence? All these people talking about it now.
Yeah, it's true that I've seen a number of these waves come with AI being promised solution to everything and then going away. In a way, I'm optimistic, though, because I think one of the key ingredients over these phases is computing. In many ways, it's a very simple answer, because many of the algorithms that we use today were actually being developed already 30, 40, 50 years ago, except we didn't have the computing. In fact, the perceptron, neural networks, the perceptrons, multi-layer perceptrons, they go back to the 50s and 60s. And, but people couldn't dream of doing them at the orders of magnitude, the size that we can do today. So computing and the availability of data has really changed the whole game, so that I believe it has now staying power. We can now do solutions to major problems, real-world problems, and turn them into businesses. In fact, this ecosystem that you're building here is an excellent example where you really take practical problems, apply these things, teach people how to do it, teach them how to use the tools, and turn them into modern problem-solving techniques. So I'm optimistic that this time it will stay. In fact, my own work, speech translation, for example, is an area where we labored for 20, 30 years ago. We started with this problem, and the biggest limitation was computing. Now we can put this in our pocket, and there are plenty of devices now that offer this.
Thank you so much. And we could go for, Renato, finally. Because this guy, Renato, is, since I know him, I've never attended a conference where he didn't ask a question.
Marco, this is for all of you. The beauty of what you're saying, and what really attracts me to this whole concept, is the European side of the conversation. Bringing this power. I'm from Brazil, so I believe in the alternative geographies, not only US and China. However, the platforms are not European. I hear Amazon, Google, Facebook, Baidu. Where is the European foundation? Where is the European platform? We have the talent, but the Americans are buying it, the Chinese are buying it. Anybody? You, Marco, what do you say?
No, I will leave the answer to the panel, please. Hassan, actually, both Hassan and Alex, you have European origin. So, what's your view on this?
So actually, I can speak for every company, but I think we have a similar sentiment to this. So yes, America is maybe the origins of the companies of Amazon, for example. But if you think about where are we located, where is science happening, where are the products developed? They are not developed only in Seattle. They are developed in. I can talk about my team alone. It's a young team. It's 9 months old. So we are in Palo Alto. We are in Seattle. We're in New York. So those are the US. But then we talk about, we have people in Barcelona. We have people in Aachen. We have people in Berlin. Talent is actually everywhere. And people are very good everywhere, not only in the US. And Amazon doesn't see itself necessarily as an American company. We are a global player. We have business outside the US, maybe as big as inside the US. So it's we don't see ourselves to be only American for sure. We want to help everyone who is out there. And talent for artificial intelligence and other things, creative minds and all of that, they're actually everywhere in the world. And that's what we want to benefit from, actually. Diversity is strength. Diversity is strength not only from the origin, but also from what people learned, what people do. Having everyone coming from the same background makes a company weak.
And I think what we shouldn't forget is that Europe needs definitely more places like this. We need more accelerators, we need more seed money, we definitely need more Series A and Series B fundings. And if you still compare that to the US, I mean, just by numbers, that's quite clear that the US is still like a big player compared to Europe, and therefore attracts talent from Europe as well. Hopefully that is going to change even more as it is right now.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. In fact, in many of the companies that I've always been in both places. And if you ask me, I think the talent is there, the training is there, the young people wanting to do companies is there. What has been missing, I think, is fast transition. And I think this, what you're doing here with these incubators is one big element in this, to make sure that from basic training to products, you move faster. And the other thing that is probably a wish for all of Europe is to also improve mergers and acquisitions to scale faster into large companies. If you really look at it, it's really all about the speed of scaling. How do you really go from an idea to an incubator to a small company, then to a larger company, and eventually into a global concern? And I think with what you're doing here, this first side of it is being addressed, and hopefully also the rest of it too. Because clearly Europe has what it takes. I think one thing that holds it back is the fragmentation and the different languages, but that is also something that is being gradually solved, with technologies. In fact, as you do.
No, but I think you have a point there, because like, as the former Prime Minister of Estonia a couple of years back rather famously said, it is still, even though we have the EU and it's supposed to be one market, it's easier to buy a case of wine in Portugal and import it through all the countries to Sweden and sell it in Lapland than it is to transfer an MP3 file and sell it from one country to another. So Europe is still not just one market. We do have the different languages, even though they will disappear or at least be translated, but we need a harmonized legislation and a lot of harmonized stuff to be able to create big, powerful platforms.
I wanted to thank this panel a lot. A big applause from our panelists, please. It's been a big honor. Thank you all for being here, and I think we can start the party.
I have a couple of couple of here.